This show is brought to you by the Spinal Tuning Webcast Studios. If you want your voice heard, we can help. In Des Moines, call 727-4000. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Tuning into Health. My name is Dr. Chad Rohlfsen, and I think this is episode number 184 or something. I'm not sure. I got to check on that. But I took the summer off, and it's good to be back. Hope you're all doing well. Hey, we got a lot of good things for you today. Well, a lot of interesting things. Some of it isn't good. I'm sorry about that. But we got medical errors, harm huge numbers of patients. And so we're going to go into that. That's from the U.S. News and World Report today. And better nutrition may prevent childhood fractures. And I've got another take on it I want you to think about. And if you got 5 minutes, why not meditate in the garden? And is it true that eggs are really bad as smoking? We'll go into that too. And women are happier than men, and they're blaming testosterone or genetics. I'm not sure which one, but we'll go into it. Hey, are there reasons, but not good ones, that you should avoid the flu vaccine this year? Well, that's what this report from the Science Daily says, and I'm going to go around with that for a little bit. But pot use among teens may lower IQ, and that describes the last 3.5 years perfectly. Choom gang. So we're going to get into it a little bit. How about the devaluation of chiropractic? Is that something that is happening today? What do you think? So are giving away a free adjustment, is that such a bad thing? Well, we're going to have a discussion right at the top of the hour where you can participate. You got a Skype, Chad Rohlfsen, and we'll be able to talk about it right after this. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to this edition of Tuning into Health. This is Wednesday, August 29th, and I hope you're having a great day. It's the end of summer, and yeah, I did take the entire summer off of the Tuning into Health series just to see what I could do with it, where I could bring it. So that's one of the things that I did. And we've built a little studio. As you can see, it's a little different studio. I've moved my office from the upstairs suite down to the downstairs suite. Gives me a little bit more room. And I built a webcast studio in here. So this is it. Basically, I've set aside one room in my office where I can have different guest hosts come in, and if they want to do some webcast or podcast, they're more than welcome to use my equipment. So if you're in the Des Moines area and if you'd like to start up your own webcast talking about that which you're passionate about, you're more than welcome to come in, and we can talk about how I can help you out with that goal. So if you're interested, you can call 727-4000. And whatnot. So healthcare, the issues surrounding healthcare, chiropractic, also the contradictions, aka the politics of healthcare, is what drives my passion. So when I see contradictory things, and contradiction is kind of a big thing with me, and not to say that I don't have any, because I'm not a perfect individual, but the size of the contradiction is equal and opposite to the size of the destruction. And I see that happening within, quote, healthcare, unquote, as today. And that's one of the things I like to focus on is the contradictions that we see in healthcare. Because from my definition, there ain't nothing out there going on in the medical world that's talking about true healthcare. Now, if you want to have that debate some other time, we will, and I'll lay it down for you between what chiropractic is true health care versus what medicine is, which is sick and disease care. And I'll go through it as much as you want in future shows. And if you want to argue with me, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to use the Skype handle. So if you want to request a friendship via Skype, you're more than welcome to. It's Chad Rohlfsen. Watch out for the spelling there. It's a Danish name with German spelling, or German name with Danish spelling. Yeah, German name with Danish spelling. That's what it is. So, every week I'll be bringing to you news articles that I find interesting that usually go along the lines of the contradictory types of things. So, we can open it up to comments, questions. So if you want to utilize the Skype, you're more than welcome to do that. This show will be recorded via YouTube and Blip TV, so you're more than welcome to watch it there as well at your leisure. So I tell you what, here's what we have. I blew up my RSS feeds. For some reason, when you upgraded Apple products this time to Mountain Lion, all your RSS feeds just kind of go up in smoke. They don't exist anymore, so I had to work a little harder to get the news stories that I was looking for here in the last few days, and really kind of interesting. But medical errors harm huge numbers of patients, and what will make America's hospitals safer? And this is an article by Steve Sternberg. It says, in early July, Mary Brennan Taylor stepped into the head of the class of the medical students at the University of Buffalo and proceeded to describe a cascade of events that killed her mother. Her mother, Alice Brennan, 88, was independent and anything but frail, but she was admitted to the hospital on July 13, 2009 with a mild case of gout. I figured she had 10 more years of life of the party, her daughter says, but doctors prescribed her muscle relaxants that isn't used for gout. So that's a lot of the problem is medical doctors are prescribing off-label stuff a lot of times. And even the on-label stuff, too, has been really bad. But the average senior out there today is on 12 to 15 medications. What I've seen as a record in my practice is 22 medications, prescription medications. So it's a mess. It's a cesspool. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the differences between healthcare and medical care. So this is a young medical student who noticed this problem happening with her mother. Basically she started a crusade and says the subsequent crusade to eliminate medical errors. Besides lecturing to medical students, she has also shared her mother's story at the federal government hearings on medical data. Places at her forefront one of the most urgent movements in medicine, a nationwide effort to rethink the risk-ridden, chaotic medical system and a place safety and quality at heart. It's a gargantuan task. In 1999, the Institute of Medicine report, "To Err is Human, Building a Safer Health System," charged the mistakes of unsafe practices in the U.S. hospitals that kill at least 44,000 people a year, and possibly twice as many as the number of likened to carnage would occur if a jumbo jet liner went down daily in the United States. So, and I don't think that a crashing 727 every day and killing everybody aboard would be a good standard for U.S. hospitals, says the author and speaker of corporate advisor Paul Levy, the former CEO of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. And at least they're talking about this stuff. A lot of times it was put under the covers, and 44,000 folks is quite a low number. If you Google a Mercola article, talking about death by medicine. Google death by medicine. And this is using the medical profession's own literature to talk about the different causes of death or hospitalizations, increased hospitalizations because of iatrogenic, which means physician-caused problems. Basically, you can Google death by medicine, and you're going to see a little different number than the 44,000 that this article mentions. You're going to see upwards of around 900,000 to 1 million people per year. And this is outpatient. This is people being prescribed properly prescribed drugs and improperly prescribed drugs and all that type of stuff and everything in between. So, yeah, there's even people that die from bed sores in hospitals, people not being cared for correctly and whatnot. Going on to this, but more than a decade after the scathing report, patients are still plagued by medical errors and the wrong diagnoses that lead to unnecessary surgery and chemotherapy. They still have surgery, but on the wrong body part. Wake up, the foreign object stitched and stapled inside. And a 2000 government analysis found that 134,000 medical beneficiaries were suffering adverse events every month. And that's double of what they found before, right? Well, more than double. So in a separate 5-year study published in the New England Journal of Medicine in November 2010, showed that 25% of all admissions in medical care harmed patients. 25%, and that was in 2010 from the Journal of American Medical Association. Study published in Health Affairs in April 2011 revealed that the standard of medicine in the hospital used to detect medical errors fail over 90% of the time. We have a problem, folks. And Sanjay Gupta also, he writes in the New York Times, he says, to stop errors, stop over-treating, and reflects an increasing number of medical mistakes. And so it says, when it comes to medicine, more is not always better, writes the neurosurgeon and CNN medical chief correspondent Sanjay Gupta. Doctors make thousands of mistakes each year in 1999, blah, blah, blah. See, he uses the same number, the same year, and comes up with 98,000. So there's these, who knows what's true anymore? Who knows what's true? I tend to trust Dr. Mercola because he's willing to open up all the facts and kind of look at everything over that time. But he says that but Sanjay Gupta, going back to him, says unnecessary tests can lead to false positives, which leads to unnecessary procedures. Unnecessary procedures can go horribly wrong. Unnecessary medications can cause serious side effects. Defensive medicine, which means CYA medicine, cover your butt, is meant to less to protect the patient than to protect the doctor or the hospital from potential lawsuit. So it indeed can harm the patient in many potential situations. So who knows what the solution is here? And I think you have to start from the beginning, and you've got to start understanding the difference in healthcare. Healthcare isn't necessarily medical care. And I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea here. Medical care can be a necessary thing to save your life. Okay? Or a necessary thing to get you over a crisis or a trauma or something like that. Okay? So I don't want you thinking that I'm anti-medicine, because I'm not. I'm even married to an ER nurse, for gosh sakes. But she knows the difference as well as I know the difference, where medical care starts in crisis, trauma, and emergency, and where health care is. And health care is a whole different bat, but everybody's calling crisis intervention and medical care health care, which that's not true. That's not true. If there's one thing that I could say today that could get you over that little, thought in your mind about medical care being health care, that would be it. So we're going to have more after this, including we're going to have a couple call-in comments on Skype about the devaluation of chiropractic, and I would like you to stay tuned right after this.
Do you have itchy, dry skin? Struggling with acne, eczema, asthma, or other health problems? Or maybe you're just looking for a safer, natural alternative to cleaning and skincare products. Maybe it's finally time for you to make the switch. What do I mean? A vast majority of skincare and cleaning products today contain toxic synthetic ingredients that are having a devastating effect on our health and our skin. But there is a better way. At Genuinely Pure, it's our mission to provide 100% natural and safe products that you'll absolutely love, and provide them at affordable prices. We offer a full line of products for the body, face, home, and baby, all full of pure plant-based organic ingredients to nourish, heal, and rejuvenate your skin. So now are you ready to make the switch? Come check us out on the web at genuinelypure.com. Find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Place an online order with the promo code Dr. Chad to save 10% off your purchase. Make the switch to Genuinely Pure today.
When you're looking for a new home, why not seek the counsel of friends who happen to know the housing market better than all the rest? Mike and Holly Taylor with Iowa Realty can answer all questions related to securing a mortgage and provide valuable information that is important to your family. Mike and Holly will provide you with a detailed summary of area schools, nearby amenities, and all the testimonials from the people that they have served. Call Mike or Holly at 453-6011. That's 453-6011 to start looking for your new home today. And you are tuning into Health with Dr. Chad. And welcome back, folks. I'm getting the hang of it. I'm a little rusty. It's all fun. It's all fun and games. Believe me, it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. We're going to see what we can do with this studio. Hey, better nutrition may prevent childhood fractures. This comes from, where does this come from? Fotolia.com. As the kids return to school, avoiding playground and sports injuries are on many parents' minds. But a new study questions whether nutrition has to do with breaking a bone than the accident itself. Researchers looked at 150 children and found out that those with forearm fractures were more likely to have thinner bones and lower levels of vitamin D. Many of the children that I've treated are simply tripping, falling, and breaking their forearms, says Dr. Ryan, a pediatric emergency physician at George Washington University School of Medicine and Health Sciences. Typically, that happens to older people in osteoporosis, but not children. They should be able to tolerate tripping and falling without sustaining a bone fracture. And they're looking at the deficiencies of vitamin D and whatnot. But I got to tell you, vitamin D is very, very, very important. And it has to be a consideration. But is it more the fact that they're not getting good quality vitamin D? Like if milk goes in our household. I tell you what, I got 5 kids myself, and milk is hard to keep on the shelf or hard to keep in the refrigerator. And I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh, don't do milk and all that. You know what? Cereal. Just in cereal. And we'll go with 5 kids or 7 people in the household. We'll go through almost a gallon in a day. But I don't think it's the diminished amount of vitamin D or anything, because I think there's vitamin D being consumed, but it's vitamin D2. It's not vitamin D3. And I've said this before in other webcasts and whatnot, but vitamin D3 is the stuff that you get from sunshine and other fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables and whatnot. Vitamin D is something that's very important, especially when you combine it with other things like magnesium and all that type of stuff. And if you stress the bones out, But says he's seeing an increase in fractures like you're seeing in the elderly population with these kids. Sunshine is a very, very, very important part of that vitamin D deficiency, or getting enough vitamin D. But let me ask you something. Do you think the increase of, get ready folks, this is gonna cheese some people off, but it's the increase in deficiency related to the increase in sunscreen use? What do you think? There's some bad stuff coming out about sunscreen, and yeah, you know what? I think there might be a connection between decreased vitamin D levels in children and increased use of sunscreen. Just something to say. And I'm not saying that go without any common sense and go get your kids sunburned all the time. But you know what? There's a fine line. They don't have to spend 3 hours out in the sun with no protection. Use a hat, use a long sleeve shirt and whatnot. And the more that you get them exposed to the sun, the more protection, natural protection that they have laying down melanin. So, which will naturally protect them against the sun's rays, the UV rays and all that type of stuff. Hey, you got 5 minutes, they say? Well, meditate in the garden. Meditation has been utilized by many, many different cultures for many, 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 many millennia as a way to increase health and wellness. And that's what they're finding out with new researchers, that you might want to spend a couple minutes meditating in the garden as well. How about this? Women are happier than men, and testosterone is to blame. A new study has identified the gene in women that is responsible for happiness. Ding! Turn on the gene. It's a correlation, but it does not exist in men, grumpy old men. According to the research at the University of South Florida, scientists have found a link between a specific gene and a woman's likeliness to have self-reported happiness. The gene is known as a monoamine oxidase, and it's determined in the brain process that is dopamine and serotonin, and the chemicals responsible for making us smile. The greater presence of this gene in women's DNA, the faster the brain breaks down these chemicals, making it quicker that they're out of a person's system. And the low levels of the gene on the flip side means that the feel-good hormones stay in the brain for longer, meaning that the woman is a happy one. And if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So I tell you what. We got a few more minutes here before we start our discussion on the devaluation of chiropractic. So is getting a free adjustment something that's bad for our profession? So if you give the consumer a little bit more choice and freedom to choose what's best for their pocketbook as well as best for their body, we're going to have that discussion here in a little bit. We got two people on deck to talk about this type of thing. It's Dr. Jason Ulsrud and Dr. Tim Langley from Marietta, Georgia. And Dr. Langley is kind of the creator, the founder of what's called the membership style practice. So if you're a chiropractor out there and you're wondering about this membership style, what the heck is it? We'll kind of get down to it a little bit. So, hey, is it true that eggs are bad for your arteries as smoking? I found this on Mercola.com, and I saw this article a few weeks back, and I just kind of wanted to bring this up. It says recent headlines were ablaze with the startling information that eggs were nearly as bad for your arteries as cigarettes. After surveying more than 12,000 seniors, researchers concluded that eating egg yolks on a regular basis is approximately 2/3 as bad as smoking with regards to the buildup of arterial plaque. And that's an incredible claim, especially once you read the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. The rest of the story is that the study is based on interviews of stroke patients and their recollection of egg intake and admission of smoking history. The authors do acknowledge that the results are weak because they're dependent on the patient's self-reporting memory and honesty. They will also say that the findings of the people with heart disease shouldn't consume eggs as a hypothesis and should be tested further. So you see how that stuff gets out into the public, and voila, you have an agenda. You have an agenda against something. It's kind of like the anti-coffee people. And then you have to have the pro-coffee people to counteract and all this type of stuff. It's really ridiculous. And so when politics gets messed up with healthcare, guess what? People die. Yep, you can have politics in sports, and you can have politics in politics. And you can have even politics at the PTA. But when politics gets messed up with health and health information, that's when it's really dangerous. And I guess, you know what? I'm going to put myself as a sentry. And I want your best interest at heart. So I think that eggs are a very good source of protein and nutrients for the human being. And you know what? If you can do it grass-fed, all the better. So, because, the nutritional value of what the chicken eats versus what it actually puts out with the egg and all that type of stuff. That's just basic common sense. So if you can get a grass-fed chicken or chicken that's raised free range, they're going to produce healthier eggs. So watch where you buy your eggs, I guess. So with that note, I'm going to go for, I'll be back right after this. We're going to go into a little discussion about the devaluation of chiropractic. Here you go.
We love our chiropractor, and I've got 3 great reasons why. First, there are no appointments, which is great for my busy life. Second, we don't waste a lot of time sitting in a waiting room. Dr. Chad actually respects our time and schedule. Third, we get unlimited care at a low fixed monthly fee. That's right, my family's care is based on our needs, not the insurance company's ability to pay. You can love your chiropractor too, and your first adjustment at the Spinal Tuning Center is free. The Spinal Tuning Center is conveniently located on Merle Hay Road, right off Interstate 80. Find out more at spinaltuning.com or call 727-4000.
And you are tuning into Health with Dr. Chad. And welcome back, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in. Tell you what, we blew up the Facebook the other day with discussions. 300 posts on one thing. It showed a picture of a doctor that had a how would you say it? He had a booth that provided adjustments for $10. And we had a huge discussion happening within the chiropractic profession about the devaluation of chiropractic and what it means for those chiropractors that discount their prices or give away $10 adjustments or maybe a free exam or something like that. And we've got Dr. Jason Ulsrud on the Skype with us right now just to kind of talk about what it is at a membership style and the whole concept of the devaluation of chiropractic, if that's true. So, Dr. Jason, hey, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazingly well.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's what I love to hear. So, what was your whole take on the concept of the devaluation of chiropractic?
This has been a topic that I've been talking about for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And, it becomes very prevalent in the membership style of practice. So,
right.
Somebody that does a monthly fee for unlimited services or something to that effect, we get taken down a lot because of this devaluation concept by other chiropractors who charge various rates. Now, what I think we're focusing on the wrong thing. It's like we're focusing on the fees, and that has nothing to do with the value of what we offer or what service we provide.
Okay.
In my opinion, what it comes down to is the value of the person individually.
Right.
And so when we see these guys that are out there talking about devaluing chiropractic and, if we're only charging $10 for an adjustment, that devalues chiropractic. What I think they're really saying is that they don't have value for themselves.
Oof.
Otherwise, they wouldn't point their fingers at other people. You've heard the thing where, for every finger you point, you have 3 points.
Yep. Four pointing right back at you. Those are
Exactly.
fighting words, my friend.
And that's the truth of the matter is that for a chiropractor to really be successful, I believe I believe they have to value what they do, and they have to value the subluxation, they have to value the adjustment, and they have to value themselves within chiropractic. And when they don't, then that's when we have these problems, regardless of the fee, because the fee has nothing to do with it at all.
Right.
So that's kind of my take on devaluing chiropractic and this membership concept.
Do you notice that the same people, like when you see chiropractic mission trips and whatnot like that to third world countries, and they're giving away the chiropractic adjustment there, and whatnot. That they, so how do you compare the two versus a chiropractor who says, yeah, sure, I'll give you a free adjustment to come on just to see, if you like it, versus somebody who goes out on these mission trips?
Well, I don't compare the two because I also do free adjustments in my office.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I go out in the community from time to time and do $10 adjustments or free adjustments, or to Peru or El Salvador, where I've been for chiropractic missions, but I also do it in my office as well. So for the people that have issues with that, I really believe it comes down to ego. And again, insecurity in themselves, devaluing themselves versus placing the value where it really needs to be. So it really comes down to ego.
I think it also comes down to being threatened, because what they look at as, their fee. Maybe they charge $70 to come in for one adjustment and whatnot, and that's what they charge the insurance company. And
But that's just an insecurity in themselves. If
Yep.
they really believed in themselves and really believed that what they provided was of whatever value they're pricing it at, then they wouldn't have an issue with what anybody else does.
right, that's you know what, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be insecure about another doctor. Maybe he's just starting out or whatnot, and he prices his fee lower. Or maybe he just wants to get more chiropractic to more people, and the one way to do that is to lower your price structure. So
Yeah, and the big thing that you don't want to get caught up in is thinking that the $70 adjustment is better than the $20 adjustment.
one chiropractor in the discussion group was talking about that that their talent, and their education and their talent was devalued to a $10 one adjustment. I'm thinking, you know what? An adjustment takes an instant. Okay, it's the analysis that is the value, but you got to look at who you're talking to, bub. I mean, if you're talking about your talent and how your talent is so much more valuable as a chiropractor, there's other chiropractors that will scoff and kind of chuckle at that type of thing. So,
Well, I think what they need to be saying maybe is that we're devaluing chiropractic because we're not offering all the therapies and adjuncts that they are.
yep. And I think that's where the real devaluation of chiropractic happens, is in chiropractors that utilize services because the insurance company will pay for that. And one little pink elephant in the room is they may charge $70 for an adjustment, but I can promise you the insurance company is not paying for that $70. Do you know what I mean? They're not no way. And they'll get a fraction of that. So what it really is just, I think it's more of a response, or it's more of a reaction to, oh my gosh, the insurance company can always point to this chiropractic over here, and say that they're charging $10 or they have a monthly membership, and that's going to lessen the value of my $70 type of thing. And I think that's what really scares them instead, where you and I practice what's called a membership style practice, which is the non-therapeutic application of chiropractic. And I think that's something different, because in insurance-based practice, what their main focus is eliminating the symptom.
Right.
Where we look at that as being kind of a side effect.
Yeah, but that said, he in that Facebook thing that you're talking about,
Yep.
it came down to this $10 adjustment, right?
Right.
And this is where the problem that this chiropractor had. And the thing is, within the membership paradigm, there's chiropractors that are charging everything from $50 a month up to $300 a month.
Right.
And so where's that point where we value chiropractic based on our fee? Because even within the membership, we have a wide range. It has nothing to do with fees.
Right.
It just has everything to do with, again, I go back to the insecurities.
Yep. That's true. That's true. And you know what? And I can understand that. I think part of the problem, this might be a root underlying portion of the problem, but I think that how do you say this? Chiropractors, especially from the 1980s and on, new graduates have been subject to federal funding of their education. And our colleges have responded in tow. I remember when I started chiropractic college back in 1994 versus when I ended, there was almost a 19% jump in tuition. And it's just because that the government would pay more for the education. And so then you get a lot of students graduating with huge amounts of debt and entering into a healthcare system where they say, how am I going to pay that off?
Right.
Type of thing. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a factor in it. We have a lot of struggling chiropractors. We have a lot of chiropractors that have gone through school and aren't practicing anymore.
Yep.
You get out of school with $150,000 debt.
Yeah.
Debt. Then you have debt to open your practice. It's tough, man. It's really tough. And even it's like with the membership paradigm, there's still a lot of chiropractors that are struggling. As great of a practice paradigm this is, still a lot that are suffering and struggling, myself included.
Yep.
And so it really comes down to your passion for what you do, comes down to your understanding of what you do, and the philosophy of what you do. And if we are trying to sell a price point, and I've been through this, so I know this perfectly, when you're trying to sell a price point, regardless of whether it's $10 or $500 or $3,000, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And so that in and of itself implies that there is no value higher than or less than based on a fee.
Right.
Value comes in to what your passion is as a chiropractor, into your knowledge of chiropractic, your philosophy, your belief, and what you're delivering to the person that's sitting in front of you, regardless of price.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I myself have joined the membership paradigm about 8 or 9 months ago, and I tell you what, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
I'm not going back. It's
a great paradigm, but it's not the only one.
Right.
There's a lot of other things that you could do. You could charge $5,000 a year or whatever. That's fine. Again, it has nothing to do with how you set up your fee structure.
Right.
So
definitely. Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for Skyping in today. I very, very much appreciate your time.
I love being on your show.
You bet. Well, you'll be on again, hopefully. So we're off the summer break, and we're going to kind of rev this up and change it a little direction. I'd love for you to participate.
Absolutely. Anytime, bud.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Dr. Jason Alsrud. I very, very, very much appreciate him being on. And we got another doctor. His name is Dr. Tim Langley, and he is on the Skype with me too. And you know what? This stuff used to work perfectly before, but I'm hanging up right now with Dr. Jason, and I'm getting the beach ball from hell. So this stuff was working this morning, and then right before I come on, then just a second, Dr. Tim. Let me tell him. Log off and then on. So, yep, I'll get the bugs worked out in this new thing. I'm using an old computer. So, let's do this. Go up here, force quit. Yeah, it's not responding. All right, force quit it and ignore that. I know, technology, don't you love it? And no Mac comments. I love my Macs. I'll never go back. Oh, I never went to the PC dark days, so. But, well, Skype is having an issue with me. Okay, I got to log back in. Sorry about this, folks. But we're going to get the membership guru, the membership practice doctor, on here. And he's going to talk a little bit about the devaluation of chiropractic. And how we can, here we go, call. Boom. This is Dr. Tim Langley from Marietta, Georgia. He's a life grad, and he's a good guy. So, well, okay, Tim, I'll talk to you. Hey, Dr. Tim.
Hey, Chad, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing. Hold on. I've got you on two places. Hold on.
You bet. You got it on the live stream, too.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear that. You should hear what happens when I do on my end, because then it gets feedback and then my ears explode. So,
all right, I've got you. I can't see your pretty face.
That's all right. You don't need to see my pretty face. So,
all right.
We're basically, this is just going to be a phone call. We're not going to be doing any video, but not a problem. But I see you anyway. So you caught the tail end of that discussion about the devaluation of chiropractic, and we've had large discussions on Facebook about doctors that are, how would you say, well, they are a little offended, or they're a little, I think they're a little afraid about the membership practice. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll start putting down those who try to make chiropractic more affordable to the masses. And so what are your thoughts? I know you shared them online, but here, go for it. What do you think about this?
My first degree was an economics degree. So everything that I look at, I sort of look through that prism. And, as long as I've been in chiropractic 12 years now, and even the 8 years prior to that with my ex-wife, I've never enjoyed the whole third-party pay system. I know it's paid well for a lot of chiropractors for a long time.
Right.
But we all know that when somebody gives you a credit card with no limit on it, you can just spend like crazy. And there's usually no limit. Those of us that have kids, as long as we keep giving them money, they keep spending it, and there's no limit. So what we've created in the chiropractic profession, only since insurance parity came on board, I guess back in the late 60s, early 70s, is a system where we've played the game just like the medical doctors have. And so we've allowed our prices, our fees, the cost of our services to go sky high. Right. Simply based on the premise that there was no number at which it stopped. And so The only limit up until just a few years ago onto what chiropractors would get paid was when was somebody's deductible or their copay.
That's true.
And so a lot of games could be played to speed up the using up of the deductible, and then there were systems where copays could be waived. And so what we saw were that there were a lot of chiropractors that might bill, say, $45 for a single adjustment, or $65 or $85, and then you throw some services in there, and so somebody could get a statement from their insurance company where they went 3 times a week for a month at $150 a visit, and all of a sudden they had their insurance company paid $2,000 to the dadgum chiropractor. Well, those days are pretty much over, and I think the days of third-party pay are quickly coming to a close in a lot of different scenarios.
There's no difference between that and a hospital paying $50 for a Band-Aid, too.
Absolutely. And so,
or charging $50, I should say.
And so really, I understand the argument of the chiropractors who say, well, you're undervaluing the service. I'm accustomed to getting paid for $50 a visit. Well, it's one thing to be getting paid $50 a visit when your patient is paying $10 out of pocket.
Right.
So you may be collecting $50 a visit, but your customer is only paying you $10 a visit. I just recently wrote an article called Price Elasticity and the Coming Chiropractic Reality. And really, in the consumer's mind, in that scenario, they're paying $10 to go to the chiropractor. And, over a couple of decades, chiropractors would have all these schemes where they could get people in with no money out of pocket. And it was called NOPE, basically, no out-of-pocket expense. So really what they were doing, they were doing what they're accusing us of doing now. They were making it free for the consumer to come in, basically free, because they didn't have to pay anything out of their pocket, and they just ran the bill up on their insurance company.
Yep.
So the demand, because we've done such a terrible job of creating an awareness of what chiropractic really is, we have really literally become either a Band-Aid or an aspirin bottle, that sort of thing.
I'd say the Band-Aid's cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. And
aspirin's cheaper.
people like going to the chiropractor because they like the human touch, and they like what the adjustment does for them. But it is a very the demand for chiropractic, because we've done such a poor job of educating our consumer base, the price elasticity, or the elasticity of demand, is very great. And so if there's any change in price, what the consumer has to pay out of their pocket, it's going to affect who's going to go into the chiropractic office.
Right.
So, the whole value thing, it depends on who you're talking to. Someone whose focus is on themselves might say, well, my time is worth $250 an hour, which, by the way, is how I value my time if I'm selling my time. So, so they're going to charge, they're going to spend more time with a customer and run up a bigger bill, so they can see maybe 2 or 3 or 4 people in an hour.
Right.
Well, if I see my time is worth $250 an hour, maybe I should try to see more people in that hour.
You know what? We're going to look at that because I've always said that an adjustment takes an instant, right?
Right.
It's a fraction of a second. That's what an adjustment is. The value comes into the analysis and where to adjust and all that type of stuff. Well, maybe the average time spent with a patient is 3 to 5 to maybe 6, 7 minutes or whatnot. If you're going 6, 7 minutes, I'm like, what are you doing? You're playing cards with them? So, and there's some education process in there. But what you said is $200 an hour. Okay. And if you
Right.
divide that by 12 different segments, well, guess what? That's 1666 an hour, or 1666 every 5 minutes.
Right.
So there's, what do they value themselves at, type of thing.
Well, yeah, and I've always been a believer in the concept of not necessarily selling your time.
Right.
Granted, we have a service and we have to sell that service, but from my standpoint, my perspective is that I'm building a business that pays me and should pay me on a regular basis, a predictable income,
Right.
a very nice living without having to get it all from one person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my systems are streamlined and that sort of thing so that I've got low overhead and then I can charge a lower fee.
Right.
And I just heard what Jason said about, selling to a price point. And to be perfectly honest, I don't sell to a price point. Now, I love guerrilla marketing and I advertise the crap out of my services and my fee, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
I'm in a very dense market of chiropractors.
Yes, you live near a chiropractic college down at Life University.
The largest one in the world. And
Yep.
a lot of them stay. A lot of them come from New York, New Jersey,
Yep.
Michigan, Pennsylvania, and they want to stay. And I don't blame them. But when you're in a saturation sort of position, then you have to stand out. Now, I don't necessarily stand out because of my fee, but my fee catches people's eye.
Yeah, it does.
And they will call because they noticed the fee. And they call because they need or have perceived the need or the desire to see a chiropractor. So when they come into me, the first thing I tell them is that this office is different probably than any one that they've been to thus far.
Yep.
Or that they might go to in the area, because my intent is to provide them chiropractic care for either the rest of their life or mine, whichever comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not selling chiropractic by the adjustment.
Right.
I'm selling the relationship, and I'm selling the concept of more life and better life. And so how do you put a price on that? The same question goes for how do you put a price on an individual adjustment?
Right.
I'm always amused at the people that criticize me and folks like me and you because our per adjustment or per visit fee might be so low or appear to be so low.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they still have a care plan that might have them seeing someone 60, 80, 100 times in a year. Well, from my standpoint, if you can't get chiropractic done in 100 visits in a year, you're not a very damn good chiropractor. Either that or you're not doing chiropractic.
Right. You're symptom chasing.
You're just pinching on somebody's butt or whatever, to justify the visit.
Yep.
So what our whole premise is not that chiropractic is cheap, but that it can fit into your budget for a lifetime and provide ready access when it's convenient for you.
Right.
And so when I talk to people about value, I tell them how I value chiropractic. Mm-hmm. I think it's so valuable that I don't want people to go without chiropractic care. Mm-hmm. I know people who've had mental and emotional problems that could have benefited from chiropractic care. I've taken care of lots of kids and people with seizures whose life has been changed because they got chiropractic care.
Yep.
I don't sell to price. I sell people on the value of a better lived life and better and easier access to the chiropractor so that the visit here mm-hmm. is not like the visit to the other doctor. So, when I talk to chiropractors about value, I say, okay, well, my fee is $69 a month. So let's say somebody's in their 40s and they come to me for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And let's just say they never get married and I keep the fee at $69 a month for 20 years. Well, $69 a month is, let me do my math. That's about $800 a year, right?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
You
Yeah.
multiply that times 20 years, and that relationship is worth $16,000.
Yep.
Now, if I do my job appropriately, and I have, say, 300 to 500 members times $16,000. Well, let's just say I have 300 members
Mm-hmm.
that pay me $16,000 over a lifetime. The math is getting a little beyond me, but that's probably something like $5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So,
And that's better than settling for the 12 visits the insurance company will give you.
Yeah. And so as we go into this new environment that chiropractors are going to have to deal with either higher deductibles and higher copays, higher out-of-pocket expenses,
Mm-hmm.
the whole concept of exhaustion of benefits that chiropractors have been playing with for so long, that concept is going to go out the window.
Yep.
So these guys that have been selling $6,000 and $8,000 and $10,000 care plans
Mm-hmm.
now are not going to be able to say, well, it's only $150 or $200 a month. They're going to have to say, well, it's $350 or $400 a month. And people are going to say, you know what? My back doesn't hurt that damn bad.
There's where you get the devaluation of chiropractic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. We devalue chiropractic when we put the value on ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
from an economic standpoint, you have to value your time. You have to value the alternative uses of your time and your leisure and all of that. But at the same time, those of us that love chiropractic, and if we're talking about devaluing the chiropractic, then we have to look at it, well, if I value chiropractic, don't I want to get it to as many people as possible?
Right.
And if I really don't give a damn about chiropractic, I'll just charge as much as I can. I'll charge what the market will bear, take care of the few people that I want to take care of that'll either make my house payment or cover my expenses or give me the money that I want to make.
Right.
I'm a DE guy, and one of the things that we say that if I want to make more money, I'll just help more people.
Yep.
And so, mine is not really, it's not, what I market is not a cheap adjustment. What I market is a system of care that allows people to fit lifetime chiropractic care into their lifestyle so that they can live a better life.
And even budget it.
Budget it, yeah. I mean, hell, who doesn't have a budget? Well, the federal government doesn't have a budget, but that's beside the point.
Hey, what do you think about the federal government's ability to affect our style of practice? What do you think about that?
I think that we're like a gnat on an elephant's back.
Okay.
One, I don't think they care about us.
Mm-hmm.
And because our perspective is from a wellness or maintenance perspective, for lack of a better term,
Yep.
Ours is not a covered service under Medicare.
Yep.
So we're, for the most part, exempt from Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
So because our fee plans are so simple, we don't have the problems with HIPAA compliance and the whole nonsense of, our patients, or not patients, but our members' privacy is actually protected better than in any other system.
I would say that's true.
So
because if you're filing claims, you're sending their information out to third parties, and if the government is paying for, the government has every right to know what they're paying for and what's wrong with that person type of thing too.
Absolutely. And so that really goes to the essence
Mm-hmm.
of the value of chiropractic.
Yep.
The value is what the consumer is willing to pay.
Yep.
And we have not yet seen market forces applied completely to this thing. There are going to be players that come into the business that will want to franchise offices. There's one that's talking about doing 1,000 offices across the country offering $19 adjustments.
Oh my goodness.
So, there's going to be more pressure, down in Florida, they had such a problem with the no-fault law that their legislature this year passed, and their governor signed a law basically kicking chiropractors out of the personal injury business.
Wow, that is probably the best thing that could possibly happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, you have to ask the question, those chiropractors that were making or billing $10, $12, $20, $30,000 over a 10-week care plan,
Yep.
Without even a trip to the hospital, what were they valuing?
Right.
Were they valuing chiropractic, or were they valuing their patients' health and well-being, or did all they care about is how much damn money could they put in their bank before somebody caught up with them?
Yep, exactly.
So the law has caught up with them, the market has caught up with them, and I think you're going to see a wave across this country where this nonsense of exhaustion of benefits, running up, huge bills with all sorts of dubious therapy modalities and that sort of thing.
Yep.
I think you're going to see those go by the wayside, because I think, and let's just say the government does get involved. The government's going to pay chiropractors to adjust subluxations. Now, that in itself would be a good thing.
Yep.
But they're going to say you get 12 to 20 visits, and all you can do is adjust, and all we're going to pay is $32. I don't know if it'll be 32, but it'll certainly be a hell of a lot less than what these people that value the adjustment.
Yep.
And so they're going to be busting their ass to adjust as many people as they can, but it'll be forced down their throat or up the other end by the government. And instead of doing so on their own and voluntarily and in a fashion that helps them or enables them to enjoy the profession, enjoy their business, without having to do the paperwork and all of that.
That's one thing that I know, and you as well. Thank you so much for this membership concept. So, hey, if there are doctors out there that are interested in more information about the membership practice concept, where can they go? What do they do?
They can either call me personally.
Okay.
That's 770-509-4805.
Okay.
They can email me at drtim02, DRTIM02 at Yahoo.
Yahoo.com.
.com, right? I do have a Facebook page called The Membership Practice. It's different than the thing that you know of, but you go to Facebook and you type in The Membership Practice, and they can reach me on there as well.
Awesome.
And you can find me on, I've got a blog, and I'm also on YouTube. You could type in Marietta Chiropractor on YouTube and see some of my ridiculous stuff. Or you just, you can just about Google Tim Langley or the Membership Practice and come up with some of my stuff.
Yep. Well, I thank you so much for spending some time with me today and kind of describing this concept, because I really think it went awry online, and it's much more easily and effectively transmitted via just talking about it and talking it out. A lot of times when we get in Facebook, we can do short little quips, and not everybody reads those quips and whatnot. So
yeah, and a lot of times when you're not looking at someone in the eye, or when you're not carrying on a conversation with them, it's easy to get personal. It's easy to say things that in normal circumstances you wouldn't say. And to be perfectly honest, our profession is, in fact, in a severe state of change, and I think a lot of people are worried about where the profession's going to go, especially if they've been charging the crap out of people.
Yep.
I think the schools are going to be messed up, the education system's going to be messed up. The market is going to have its will on the fees, and I think a lot of people are concerned and their egos get involved. And so sometimes it's hard to have a rational discussion, and that's why I really appreciate your format.
You betcha, buddy. Well, Dr. Tim Langley from Marietta, Georgia, I want to thank you for tuning into health. And we're going to have more of these conversations because I think this is an ongoing discussion happening within our profession. And if we don't do it, who the hell else is going to do it? So
That's exactly right.
it's hard to talk honestly. And I'm glad that we've got guys like you and Dr. Ulsrud out there and other membership doctors. And we're going to be tapping into that pool as well to help describe this thing, what we beloved and call chiropractic. So you have a great day, Dr. Tim, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, Chad. Have a great day, bud.
You bet. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Isn't that awesome? I love Dr. Tim Langley. He changed my life big time and you know what the concept was that really hooked me into this thing? Was he said, our job as chiropractors is to remove interference from people's lives. Why the hell aren't we doing it in our own lives? As chiropractors, as our profession, as our practices, why aren't we removing the interference and playing the same model that we preach to our practice members about doing? And I tell you what, it's been liberating. It's been a lot of fun practicing in this style, and it gives people the best care possible at a reasonable fee that they come to understand and appreciate. Especially if they are, let's say my office is a little out of the way, and one lady came in the other day and she said, is that? And I have a brother that's a chiropractor as well. Is that a family member that practices over there? It's really close to where I live, and it'd be really, really kind of more convenient for me to go over to that practice. I said, well, sure, if that's what you want, that's fine. It's closer to where you work, but I'm closer to where she lives and her family lives and whatnot. And I said, well, we've shared patients back and forth, not a big deal. It just depends on what's most convenient for you. But I will tell you, however, that, and she doesn't have insurance that covers chiropractic. And I said, my brother and I don't agree on this membership style practice. So what happens is that if you're going to go over to his practice, you're not going to get the same deal of the same flat, low monthly fee for unlimited care. And it took her a whole 2 seconds to say, don't worry, I'm staying. So, and I don't mean to throw my brother under the bus because I think he's a great chiropractor. We adjust the same type of method and the Gonstead chiropractic and all that type of stuff. But there's something there that they value it. They value the care that they're getting. They value the deal that they're getting and whatnot. And I would encourage my brother to explore the membership option. And great, if it's more convenient for her to go over there and get great chiropractic care, good. I love it. So, all right, we'll get into a lot more. We went a little over this time. I tried to keep them at an hour, but sometimes you can't keep these shows at an hour because they're so damn fun. But did you see the latest news on pot use in teen years may lower IQ? Yeah, this is a study that is an WebMD. Okay, now who knows? And I'm going to preface this by saying, and you can believe me on this, I've never tried pot. Never tried. Never. The first joint that I ever saw, I was 21 years of age. I'd never seen the stuff before, and I've never inhaled, and I've never even held one in my hand. So, but heavy long-term marijuana use in the beginning of the teens can possibly lead to a lower IQ. A provocative new study shows frequent continued use of marijuana starting before the age of 18 was associated with the 8-point decline in IQ study. The decline was not seen in users who started smoking pot in early adulthood or later in life. Well, there you go. There's your out. The findings suggest that the long-term marijuana use can lead to long-term harm to someone's thinking abilities, such as intelligence, memory, or the attention span, and that teens are uniquely vulnerable, researchers say. Many people today, especially young people, believe that marijuana is risk-free, but research tells us that's just not the case. And it describes the last 3.5 years to a T. Punahou Chumgang. I'm just saying, Mr. President. On that note, I'm going to, say goodbye because, you know what? We've got some great shows happening here in the future. We're going to be talking to a lucid dream expert. His name is Robert Wagner, and he wrote a book called Lucid Dreaming, The Gateway to the Inner Self. Now, what does that mean? I tell you what, folks. What if, let me explore this concept with you. What if you could talk to your innate intelligence? Huh? What do you think about that? What do you think if you could talk to your innate intelligence, or, quote, your subconscious? And that's what he says is possible with the ability to lucid dream. So I've read his book. I'll promote his book as much as I possibly can because I think that's a neat concept. And I'm on my way. I haven't had a lucid dream yet kind of, sort of. I don't know. But the concept is very cool. What would you do if you could talk to your innate, and what type of information would you farm from it? Different concept. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I want you to tune into Health every week around this time, and we're available on YouTube and whatnot, so if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe to Des Moines Cairo on YouTube, and I'll try to make it a podcast, audio available as well. On that note, I want you to have a great one. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, folks.